Right, it is time for Focus 50 Plus, and Dr. George Schofield is with us.
Good morning, Kathy.
Good morning. Good to see you.
Good to see you too. So today I'd like to talk about something that a lot of us avoid. Whether we're 50, 60, 70, 80, 90, we still think of ourselves as 45 or 50. But I'd like to talk about preparedness for if something happens to us or we're not well.
Okay, so what makes this so important?
Well, imagine, I'll take my example. I was suddenly ill and I needed medical treatment, and I wasn't capable of signing the document, and yet I needed it.
Yeah.
If something happened to me, it's very important for all those papers to be in order, and by the way, filed with the hospital so that you don't have to scramble around if you're ill trying to find the papers to give them to the people who are driving the ambulance.
Well,
it's not going to happen.
That's true. So is that actually an example as well as not being prepared?
Yeah, that's one example. The real example that came up this week, which is why I wanted to talk about it, is a lady was going along and she was in her late 80s and she was just fine. But she fell and she hit her head.
Oh.
So she was very disoriented and they needed to treat her, but that brought up all kinds of questions for the rest of us. Have you got your paperwork with the hospital? Is somebody around who can act on your behalf and make decisions? So there are lots of examples of not being prepared.
And those are some of the things that you should be thinking, but is there a specific list of things that you need to think about?
Absolutely, absolutely. The first thing to do is, one, what do you own and what do you owe? Write it down and make sure someone knows where that is. Second of all, who have you designated as responsible for you? Who do you want to have be authorized? To whether it's medical or legal or assets or whatever. The third one is, three, have you done the legal work? Do you have the paperwork? Not only just stuffed in your safe deposit box, but does whoever is responsible have a copy of it? And then there's a list of preferences. If I'm ill and nobody knows what I really want, then they're going to be deciding, and it's my life. But it's not their fault. I didn't do my homework to begin with. And finally, updating it. If we've got a list of what we own and all the documentation, and we've designated who we want to have be responsible, 20 years later or 15 years later, we might feel very different, or the same people may not be available. So it needs to be done, and it needs to be done now, but it also needs to be not just put away and not updated. It needs to be a living document. I
just had one quick question that I thought of. Does it need to be notarized or anything like that, so you have like a date on it and then?
If you have it done through an attorney, they'll notarize it, and the whole thing will be done in one package, and it's well worth doing.
Okay. All right. Thank you so much.
You're welcome. Thank you for asking.
All right. I'll see you next week.
Good.
See you guys right after the break. Stick around.